Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! This has been the most fun that I have had in my entire life, and I honestly mean that from my heart to yours. If I can speak from my heart for a moment, I just want to say thank you to the Zombies franchise. The premiere of Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, was beautiful. It was gorgeous, and in every sense of the promotion that was put behind Descendants and Zombies, it was an incredible effort. And I think that people like Malachi Burton and Freya Skye have fabulous futures with the Disney franchise, and this franchise as a whole is going to amaze us for many years to come. And I just want to be a part of it. I just want to be a part of this because it was an unbelievable experience being first introduced to Descendants in 2015, and it still is a decade later. You guys have really saved my life, and I've fallen into a niche that I am incredibly grateful for. I am incredibly grateful for it for a number of reasons, but the biggest reason is because this franchise is what saved my life. You have no idea how many relationships have ended because of my passion for Descendants and Zombies. I don't think there is another guy on YouTube who has put so much creative energy behind his YouTube channel when it comes to Descendants and Zombies. You can search through millions of videos on YouTube. There are 2.49 billion users on YouTube, 2.49 billion YouTube accounts. And there is not one guy on YouTube who creates as many Descendants and Zombies videos for each and every one of you, much less every single day. I do it because I love doing it. When I first saw Ruby Rose Turner, I fell in love with Ruby because of her message of kindness, because that's ultimately what I wanted to convey on this YouTube channel, was a message of kindness, and the chance that anything that you wanted to achieve in this lifetime, any dream that you may have had, could have been a possibility regardless of what that dream was. And I know how it is to feel let down. I went to school every day of my life. I was tripped up, I was bullied, I was called names, I was made fun of. I was locked in lockers. Anything that you could have had happen to you, I had happened to me. I was involved with girls who even thought they were vampires because of whatever disease they had in their brain. And I had to end up kicking the ass of a lot of vampire guys who wanted to take them from me. I always won in the end, but it is a very, very traumatic experience when you have to actually endure that. And then I fell into this franchise after years of being a podcaster and talking about various different niches that made no sense to me whatsoever, or perhaps anyone who ever listened to my podcast. And this has been the niche that has saved my life and helped me put the broken pieces of my heart back together. Thank you so much for allowing me to be the voice of Descendants and Zombies. You guys made that choice, and you guys hit my subscribe button. I can remember when this podcast had 5 subscribers. This YouTube channel had 5 subscribers, and this YouTube channel went all the way from 5 subscribers to almost 3,000. And it's almost as if it happened overnight. Thank you so much for having believed in this YouTube channel as much as what you have. I know I say a lot of crazy things about how I used to live with a guy who thought he was a werewolf, how I dated girls who thought they were vampires, who I always wanted to build a castle in Romania. I actually did always want to build a castle in Romania and live the Descendants' life. So the next best option to that, because it was so expensive to build a castle in Romania, was to live in a home that was 5 minutes away from a soda plantation and a chemical plant that could explode. Conveniently enough, I was able to find a home that was actually 5 minutes away from a chemical plant and a soda plantation, and I like it here. It makes me feel as if I'm a part of the Zombies franchise, which you guys can get me in if you hit the subscribe button a couple of thousand times. Right now I stand at and sit at 2,711 subscribers. It could be 2,900 or 3,000 subscribers. It could even be 5,000 subscribers. But I know for that to happen, each and every one of you would have to hit the subscribe button for every single person who watched this video at least once. Here's the thing. It can happen because you guys love Descendants and Zombies as much as what I do, and I trust in each and every one of you. The host of his show trusts in his audience, and that is a huge quality and a huge accomplishment to have achieved as a podcast creator. Because as a podcast creator, as a YouTube video creator, it is very hard to find a niche, fall into that niche, have that niche accept you, and for that niche to always hit us like and subscribe buttons. But you do that for me. You do that for me. I have been in so many relationships, as I said, where girls thought they were vampires. Girls could never make sense of how and why I love Descendants and Zombies as much as what I did. Because of people like Ruby Rose Turner, I ultimately wanted to be a better person, and I can only hope to have been half the person that someone like Ruby Rose Turner was, because Ruby Rose Turner sure did have to endure her fair share of heartbreak in her life. I can't even tell you how many times I watched that girl cry her eyes out on YouTube. I can't even tell you how many times I watched Kylie Cantrell cry her eyes out on YouTube. For the most stupid reasons. Because she's not a Donald Trump supporter. Because Ruby Rose Turner was turned down for roles. Ruby Rose Turner is the most beautiful girl of all time that I have ever laid eyes on, who deserves more opportunities than what she's ever been given. She wants more than anything in this world to be able to play Rapunzel in the live-action Tangled. So why not give her that opportunity? Why not reserve that opportunity for Ruby because she's so passionate about having that role bestowed upon her? Why not give her a role in Zombies if you had no use for her in the Descendants franchise moving forward for Descendants 5? I think Ruby would have been the most beautiful representation of Rapunzel. I say this probably because I'm a sweetheart, perhaps, but I think she would have been the most beautiful representation of Rapunzel that we would have ever seen. You had so many characters coming into the Descendants franchise, from Pink to the nephews of Smee, to characters from Encanto and Princess and the Frog. And I think that was an incredible opportunity to keep Ruby with the franchise and to keep her happy. But I guess that's what's lacking. If anything is lacking in the Descendants franchise, it is the ability to keep the stars happy. I have seen them in so many TikTok videos where they don't look happy at all. And that has a lot to do with creative freedom. They're not able to say what they want, do what they want, and get away with what they want. I think they have to have more creative freedom to make it a more enjoyable and happier experience for them. And the only way that's going to happen is if you guys hit the subscribe button a million times and put Jonathan Clarke out there so Disney will see these videos. And when Disney sees these videos, they will fax me a contract, a very lucrative contract. I will sign the contract without even thinking about it, and I will become an executive producer for Disney, and I will fire every member of the social media department. I give you my word. And once the entire social media department is gone, these stars will feel happy again. And I think that's something that's been missing from the production of Descendants. It's been something that's missing from the production of Zombies. You have such an incredible cast of zombie stars, comprised of Malachi Barton and Freya Skye, who have fabulous futures with the Disney franchise. I will say this again, time and time again over on this podcast. When I saw the Zombies premiere just last night, when I was able to catch it, my heart literally melted. I saw the chemistry between the characters Victor and Nova, and I thought it was absolutely fabulous. I could watch Zombies 4 100 times over and never get tired of it. And I know that there are people out there that can watch the Descendants franchise, all 4 installments of it up to this point, with a forthcoming, that could watch it and never get tired of it. I used to make a very consistent habit of doing that. I used to make a point of doing that. And I used to do that with a lot of girls that I had in my life that I was in relationships with. Either they couldn't make sense of it, and I loved it so much. But in particularly, I used to make a point of doing that with if I was with a girl who had a daughter who loved it so much. And they could never understand why I loved it so much. I loved it so much because of just how much of a passion was exemplified by the actresses in that, and how much emotion was put behind the music. I mean, for instance, you take Life is Sweeter When You Are. It was a bubblegum song that got stuck in our heads almost instantly. We loved it so much. I don't know how they're going to follow that song, because that song became a very loved song by so many people. A beloved song by so many people, yours truly included. I don't think there's been a night of my life since I witnessed the premiere of that song that I haven't loved it. I love it so much because of the message of the song, how it emphasizes there is not enough kindness in this world, because there really isn't. I mean, how many times do you go to school with somebody, or sit next to somebody in the school bus, or sit behind or in front of somebody in your class, and they're a real idiot when they don't have to be? I think that there are never enough kind people in this world. There is never enough kindness spread in this world. And you'll have to forgive me, because that's really what I wanted to spread with this podcast, was a message of kindness. And you can help me with that by hitting the subscribe button. I know that I've always wanted to be a vampire slayer in Zombies. I think that would have been really cool to have the opportunity to fight Dracula, to fight whatever supernatural creatures they were going to throw at us in the Zombies franchise. I think Zombies 5 is going to be very, very compelling. It's going to be something, and yes, I have an itchy nose. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I had a banana fruit smoothie last night, and my nose has been really itchy since. Oh my god. Got to cut back on the banana fruit smoothies. And I know you guys love them so much because I see you guys making them in your YouTube videos, which I think is really creative. Come to think of it, I don't think I have any bananas to make one later on. But having said that, I think that Zombies has opened up a door of creative nature that has never been seen before in any franchise. You know, High School Musical was talked about for being one of the greatest franchises of all time, and it will be argued if High School Musical, whether or not, was the franchise that secured the future of Disney Channel in its entirety, and where we're at now with Disney Plus. I don't know if I agree with that or not, because I think that Descendants and Zombies is well on its way. Either one of those two franchises are well on its way with ratings of 6.4 and 6.2. 6.2 for Zombies and 6.4 for Descendants, so Descendants is slightly ahead of it. But I think Descendants is definitely one of the most powerful franchises of all time. The exemplification of kindness, how any dream that you've ever wanted to achieve is possible, how you can ultimately be a stronger person. And the cool thing is, people who watched Descendants when they were 9 years old are 17 years old now, and they are still watching Descendants, and that really warms my heart. Don't ever give up on what you believe in, and don't ever quit on what you love, or who you love, more importantly. And if the guy can't see you for what your worth is, then obviously he's not worth your time. If he can't tell you that he loves you, and that's what I want ultimately for each and every one of you, is a guy that loves you so much for who you are as a person and accepts you for your beliefs, what you like, what you don't like, and who understands you most importantly. Because if you don't have a mutual understanding in a relationship, you don't really have much to look forward to. And I know I'm in no position to offer you any relationship advice. It just has something to do, and a lot to do, with how I saw Ryan McCartan treat Dove Cameron, how I saw Thomas Doherty treat Dove Cameron, how I saw Brenda D'Amico of Descendants fame in such an abusive relationship, and more recently I saw Kylie Cantrell get out of an abusive relationship because of her beliefs and her political point of view. Everything they could drag into a conversation that revolved around Kylie Cantrell, they brought it into the conversation, and I will never ever quit on that, because I want Kylie to know she is a beautiful person who has inspired millions of people, and when she feels as if she has nobody, every night she Googles herself. At least she has my voice on this podcast, and she has each and every one of you. And as long as she has my voice and she has each and every one of you, Kylie has a lot to look forward to. I know Kylie is still figuring out life, what she wants the most out of life, who she wants to spend the rest of her life with. But I want to say this, if I could take a moment to speak directly to Kylie. Kylie, you are a beautiful person. You have inspired millions of people. They have fallen in love with you. I don't see anything wrong with how people feel about you from a great point of view. From a negative point of view, I see everything wrong with it. But you have inspired millions of people, and I think that overshadows any bit of negativity that you have encountered. And you're going to encounter more negative reviews online. You're probably going to refrain from Googling yourself, but I hope one of these nights you Google this podcast and you listen to my voice, and I will constantly remind you of just how beautiful of a person you are. I have never felt this way about any group of actresses that I do about the Descendants stars, because they are incredibly inspiring, they are incredibly beautiful, and they are beyond talented. And they never cease to amaze me, and every single time I see them for the Worlds Collide Tour, all the Descendants movies that make up the franchise, all the movies that have made up the Zombies franchise, I love it so much. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with everything from the plot and how it unfolded, to the music, to how you guys felt about it, to how young girls would show up at my door every year on Halloween, hug me and tell me everything was going to be all right, dressed up as your favorite Descendants characters. The costumes were absolutely fabulous. Every year on Halloween, I look forward to it for the past 10 years. It's been a wonderful experience, and it's been an experience that I know that I will never ever forget. I have always wanted to have the opportunity to work as part of the Descendants franchise, as a creative director, as an actor, as a scriptwriter, as a developer of talent. I can get it done. But all you guys have to do is hit the subscribe button. You can also put in the comments what a curious or an itchy nose. Oh, God. I really have to stop drinking fruit smoothies. So that's how I draw inspiration to create this podcast for each and every one of you. I drink a lot of fruit smoothies and tea in the nighttime. So when I tell you I ran out of tea, or I feel inspired by eating a blueberry muffin and having a cup of tea every night prior to jumping on this podcast, I'm telling you the truth. because that's how I draw inspiration. I try to really feel as if I'm a part of the Descendants franchise and what it would be like to drive a side-by-side through a rabbit hole, or fight the Queen of Hearts with her army of card guards, or to be a part of a zombie apocalypse and feel as if I was a part of the Zombies franchise. Which, come to think of it, I think would be really cool if Jonathan Clarke were a ass-kicking machine in the Zombies franchise. I think it would be really cool to dangle from a helicopter and do the whole Indiana Jones thing and shoot a bunch of zombies. I think it would be really cool to fall in love with Meg Donnelly and fall in love with Addison, because I think that Zed is definitely long overdue for an exit from Zombies, and I thought we were going to see that in Zombies 4 when he told Addison he loved her more than anything else in the world. I really appreciated that, because that was the first time in a Disney script we heard the words "I love you." I think the only exception that we heard that in a Disney script was between Gabriela Montez and Troy Bolton for the High School Musical franchise, and that was only very briefly, so much so that people didn't even notice it. So I was really looking forward to hearing the words "I love you" dropped in a script, because I can't even tell you how many times I would look at my girlfriend, vampire or not, and tell them that I loved them so much, no matter if their name was Brandy, no matter if their name was Melissa, no matter if their name was Kelly, no matter what their name was. I was always telling them I loved them, and I did it so passionately. But the one thing I noticed in my relationships was I wasn't hearing the words "I love you" returned. So because they didn't feel the same way about me, one thing led to another, and then I fell into this niche. There is no other niche in this world that I would love to fall in love with all over again, with the exception of this one. If I could go back in time and were in possession of a pocket watch, I think I would fall in love with this niche all over again, because it's a niche that gave me creative freedom. For the first time in 25 years, I'm able to say what I want on my own podcast, preferably over being the co-host of a podcast where you would have to put over the host of the show and whatever niche he was talking about and trying to attract. More times than often enough, he would fail at attracting that specific niche, and I gained more success and more worldwide popularity on YouTube because of this podcast and how I was able to build a friendship between myself and the audience of the show, which I think is a very important element and a critical piece of your puzzle as a podcast creator. You have to create something that intrigues people, people feel engaged watching, and people feel interested in. I know I'm a real crazy guy, but I'm also a really sweet guy who believes that girls are the only thing in this world that has ever made sense. And because I believe that girls are the only thing in this life that has ever made sense, I have put so much time and effort behind this podcast, because I believe that you guys have deserved to hear the best when it comes to commentaries about Descendants and Zombies, and I've just wanted to give that to you guys. I'm going to really miss Ruby Rose Turner being a part of the Descendants franchise. I think Ruby Rose Turner was a beautiful soul. I don't think Ruby Rose Turner has ever said an unkind word. And because Ruby has never said an unkind word and been so appreciative of every opportunity she's had in her career and all the people that she's made friends with and been able to create magic with, Ruby is such an inspiration to me, and I wish that I could only be half the person that Ruby Rose Turner turned out to be in life for each and every one of you. If there ever was an inspiration from the Descendants cast who became my favorite star of the entire franchise, it would have to be Ruby Rose Turner. Ruby could have her own movie based off the Bridget character, and that's a movie in its own right. A 90-minute production right there. The fact that Mel and Evie and Jay and Carlos went off to distant lands to, spread the message of kindness to other fairy tale characters in distant lands. That's a movie in its own right there. The fact you could turn Descendants into a TV series and call it Oradon with a director and a producer is a TV series in its own right there for Disney+. There are so many doors of opportunities that have yet to be opened for the Descendants cast, and such a promising future for each and every one of the members of the cast of Descendants, no matter who you're talking about, and that can go all the way back as far as the days of Dove Cameron, who did a fabulous job on the Liv and Maddie TV series, and as the character Mal, who ultimately became the greatest Descendants character and most popular of all time. I loved her so much. I just didn't agree with how Ryan McCartan and Thomas Doherty were treating her, and I achieved worldwide popularity on YouTube for my criticism of Ryan McCartan, which you guys were incredibly supportive of, and I can't thank you enough for that. I also wanted to be the voice of Descendants and Zombies, which you guys conveniently enough have made me, and I can't thank you enough for having done that either, because I could just be some loser on YouTube uploading videos who loves tacky chips, which are actually the favorite chip of Ruby Rose Turner, and she's openly admitted to that on podcasts. I really appreciated that because I get a full bag of tacky chips. I saw them on sale the other day and I picked up several bags. So if the Descendants cast wants to come here live with me in my home and shoot Descendants 5 or 6, a sequel to Descendants 5, Descendants 6, whatever, I will gladly oblige them. And I will have tacky chips, PlayStation 5, unlimited Fortnite, unlimited Wi-Fi access for them, and it will create an endless opportunity for them to be happy. I always love seeing the Descendant stars be happy, more especially Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner, who I know have received their fair share of criticism. I always wanted them to be happy, and I enjoyed seeing them happy. That's why I would love the opportunity to be in a nightclub somewhere, be having a dance with Kylie Cantrell, and then from out of nowhere, Kylie Cantrell points out her ex-boyfriend to me, and I would go over to him, say something to him, and vertically suplex him, because in all honesty, he deserves to have his ass kicked for how he treated Kylie Cantrell. And anyone who ever treated Ruby Rose Turner with disrespect, they deserve to have their ass kicked too. So I would love to be in a nightclub setting and be the bodyguard of Ruby Rose Turner or Kylie Cantrell. And I give you my word, if I am elected as President of the United States, what I will do is I will send Kylie Cantrell a bouquet of flowers, the biggest bouquet of flowers that I can possibly find, and invite her to perform on the night of my inauguration. And as I'm looking out through the window of the White House, and I address the nation every night at 8 p.m. on my YouTube channel with any concerns you may have, I want Kylie to know that she is a beautiful person, an incredibly talented person with a bright future ahead of her, and I just want to be there to witness it every step of the way, because songs like Denim, Goodie Bag, Boy for a Day, See You Tonight, all the songs for the Descendants soundtrack, including Red or Red Christmas, beautiful songs and a beautiful representation of how strong and how fearless a character can actually be. And I want to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you for having made this podcast as popular as what you have. Do I think we will get beyond Descendants 5 and see more of a creative energy brought forth for Descendants? Sure I do. I think Descendants can see up to 10 movies for the next 15 years. You just have to have someone who is crazy enough to finance it, and yours truly is the guy who is crazy enough to finance this. I would love for Disney to send me a contract that I could sign and be able to create for Descendants, because if I get the opportunity to create for Descendants, oh my lord, there is going to be so much happen. You guys are going to be so proud to have called yourself Descendants fans and been incredibly supportive of Jonathan Clarke. All I'm asking is for the opportunity to do that, because I love creating for each and every one of you. As I mentioned here earlier, I don't think there's another guy on YouTube who has created so many videos for each and every one of you about Descendants, because he loves Kylie Cantrell so much. It's just, I'm so tired of hearing her, crying her eyes out of her head, and for no reason whatsoever. Everybody loves her so much. And when Kylie is tired of Googling herself, I want her to know that if she ever Googles this podcast, she will hear nothing but great reviews and the most positive of reviews, and everything but, negativity that she's been hearing. This podcast will always be here for her, and this podcast, more importantly, will be here for each and every one of you. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to sit behind this podcast microphone every single night and tell you how much I love Descendants, how much I love Kylie Cantrell, and how much of an inspiration she's been to each and every one of you, because I know how much she means to each and every one of you. I get it. It broke my heart when I heard all the criticism about The Place to Be and Don't Mess With Us music videos for Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires. I couldn't believe it, and I wanted to come on here and kick everybody's ass, and you guys helped me kick a whole lot of ass with this podcast, and I can't thank you enough for that, because if you're going to say something nice about Descendants and Zombies, if you're going to say anything about Descendants and Zombies, at least say something nice. At least say something nice, and have the girl watching this podcast run away from this podcast, go away from this podcast saying, Jonathan Clarke is really cool. Jonathan Clarke has the best Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel on the internet, on YouTube. He is the reason I'm going to create my own YouTube. Well, maybe not. I think I'll just subscribe to his YouTube. That would be awesome if you would subscribe to this podcast, subscribe to this YouTube channel. That would be an honor to have you here. All I've ever wanted is for you to be a part of this beautiful community, and you can make that happen by hitting the subscribe button and make all my dreams become a reality. Kylie Cantrell, I love you so much. Ruby, I love you so much. I miss you being a part of the Descendants franchise. I don't know how they can produce Descendants 5 without you, But then again, I don't think we've seen the last of anything when it comes to Descendants, much less Ruby Rose Turner seeing her return in the franchise if time travel makes a return by the time we get to Descendants 6, which I believe there is a huge chance for happening because of the popularity of this franchise, a franchise that saved my life. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of all of your lives and having made me the voice of Descendants and Zombies. So with that having been said, what do you say we take a look at this Kylie Cantrell interview? There have been so many Kylie Cantrell TikTok videos over the last couple of days, and I wanted to share in all of them with you.
So if your characters from Descendants: The Rise of Red were in the original Descendants movie, which VK do you think your characters would be best friends with and why?
Ooh, kind of hard. I would say, I don't know, I feel like Red and Mal would hit it off. Do you think so? I feel like they would have a cute little kiki and just like talk about what trouble they're gonna stir up. That's true. I feel like Evie and Chloe kind of work together. Because they're blue. Because we're blue. That's the only reason. No, I think she's just so sweet, and she would teach Chloe to be... Chloe's feminine, but I feel like she could like learn how to do her own jewels, because I'm sure she like someone else does that for her. So I could see that being fun. That's cute.
I'm going to be honest with each and every one of you. I love creating these Descendants and Zombies videos for you guys. I love this YouTube channel. I think this community is absolutely beautiful. It is incredibly supportive, and if there was one niche I could fall in love with all over again in this lifetime, it would have to be this one, because you guys are amazing. You're the most incredible fans in the world, the most incredible niche that I've ever had the privilege of getting to know and being a part of as a podcast host, and being the voice of Descendants and Zombies, which conveniently enough you guys have made me. I don't know for the life of me how you guys are finding these videos. I don't know if it's through Google search, YouTube recommendations, but I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for having brought this show to life and brought it back from obscurity. I thought I had recorded my final podcast 7.5 years ago, and for some reason you guys brought me back. You brought me back. I never ever thought in a million years Descendants and Zombies would have been the niche that would have saved my career. In all honesty, my professional wrestling career as a journalist was going nowhere. My relationship with all the vampire girls that I was with wasn't going nowhere. They wanted other things out of life. And just every girl that I was with in general could never make sense of why I fell in love with this niche. I fell in love with this niche again because it was just so incredibly supportive. More times often enough, when I felt like I had nobody, I knew I had Ruby. I call her Rube all the time. I knew I had Kylie Cantrell because she was a beautiful singer. She was incredibly talented, who should never be doubting herself because of her incredible talent. And I knew I had each and every one of you. So if I'm going to die, there is no niche I would prefer to die with more than Descendants and Zombies. Thank you so much for having been a part of my life, helping me make sense of everything, and being there for me when nobody else was. This show will always be here for you. I will always have videos uploaded on this channel every day for each and every one of you. Even if it's just one video per day, there will be something up here for each and every one of you, because I think as a YouTube creator, consistency is the most thing to be valued with your YouTube channel. And if you can't provide somebody with consistency, then there's no point of you ever creating a YouTube channel. But I like to believe that I've inspired a lot of people to create their own YouTube channel, or some girl who loves this franchise just as much as what I do, to hit the subscribe button and continue to support this YouTube channel with a never-ending love and support that she has always been here showing me for. Because some of the very first subscribers I have ever had on this YouTube channel are still here, and I can't thank you enough for that. I remember a time when this YouTube channel had 5 subscribers, and now we're edging ever closer to the 3,000 subscriber milestone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of all of your lives, and being the never-ending song in your heart, consistently on repeat. Thank you so much. I love you so much. We all look at the same moon and the same constellation of stars every single night, and if you look close enough at those stars in that constellation, somewhere deep within inside of it, the words "I love you" do exist. And if you can't see it tonight when the stars are out in the sky, just make sure you look a little bit harder. I love you guys so much. You probably love my voice as the Descendants and Zombies host. I do have a really nice voice, I will admit to that. But forever and always know I love you so much for having subscribed to this YouTube channel. I will be back again tomorrow with another great podcast for you guys, dedicated to the fans of Descendants and Zombies. Stay calm and zombie on. Come to think of it, that's a really cool way to go about living your life until the day you die. Take it from a guy who's lived with a guy who thought he was a werewolf. Girls who thought they were vampires. What a hard life. What a hard existence. That's how I lived. Now, if you'll excuse me, I got a bolt. I love you all. Be kind to one another. Bye, YouTube. We will do this again really soon. So long for now.